You ever feel like just giving up on making beats for a living and just quitting music altogether? I probably think about giving up, if I'm being honest, 5, 6 times a week. This is a difficult field to be in, but I want to give you some good news in the form of experiences that I've had. And the first one was prompted by an Instagram comment, actually a YouTube comment, my bad, that I received this week. And it is in reply to a video where I explained to beat sellers how to avoid getting PayPal chargebacks when someone buys your beats and then tries to scam PayPal and take money back and basically flag your account for fraud, so then you get hit with penalties and fees and all this other stuff. So this is by Chris B. He says, I only work with one artist and I don't charge him. I want to blow up with him. Plus we have become really good effing homies. I'd say like best friends. For real, it's all about your mindset. For real, quit chasing money. I think more producers should worry about making gas beats and gas music. Focus on your craft. Don't get boxed in. I think the money will come later on. I agree and I disagree with this comment. And it's a balancing act, figuring this out. And I think it comes with experience. He says he's only working with one artist, so I identify quite a bit with this comment. I was one of those romanticizing the starving artist image type of dudes way back. And I was making beats, and I'm underground. Real artists don't get paid for their work. We're underground, we're struggling. And it's like all the underground artists that we were listening to were doing just fine. They were paying their rent and buying houses and becoming owners and cooperative record labels, and that was just not a part of the image that we were sold by the indie hip-hop movement, which I thought was a damn shame, because I feel like those of us who were fans of the so-called underground rap existed kind of in opposition to commercialized rap, like Cash Money Records and No Limit Records and stuff, and they openly talked about making lots of money, and we thought that was too materialistic. So then we listened to the underground and we got it in our heads that real artists don't actually get paid a fair and livable wage for their art because that somehow pollutes the art. And that's bullshit, frankly. There's no shame in wanting to not be stressed out financially all the time. There's no shame in wanting to support your family. Anyone who comes with this purist, anti-fair living wage narrative when it comes to art, get them out of your lives. But what I do agree with, and Southside said this, and I posted a video about this, is this whole idea that you're focused wholly on money when you start. Making beats is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not even a good career field for money. Honestly, it's like damn near at the level of professional sports, but like if you don't make it in the NBA, you don't have too many other options. So if you're all about the money, I would say, figure something else out, like buy a laundromat, get an engineering degree, get work in some field that is lucrative right away and that has a high amount of job security. Here I am, I make music, and it did take quite a bit of time for me to actually turn music into a career, mostly because my mentality was wrong, mostly because I wasn't focused on turning it into a career. What I have a problem with, and I hope this isn't the case for this guy, and I hope it's not the case for you either, but if it is, let this be food for thought, if not a wake-up call. This idea that he's only working with one artist. So I was never just working with one artist, but I worked with a handful of artists, and I considered all of them my friends. And a lot of people will weaponize friendship. This isn't even just about music, but in the music business, a lot of people will weaponize friendship against you, talking about, oh man, we're not talking business, contracts, split sheets. No, we're friends. Why would you do that to a friend? Come on, I got you. And then you find out that they're robbing you blind, or they're just not handling business, and you get left out of the whole thing. Like, that's not what friends do to each other. Friends are honest. Friends are respectful of one another. But I had friends whose music I produced 100%, and I worked my ass off. And I learned a lot in the process of producing, not just making beats, but actually producing records for and with these artists. I don't know how many, let's say there were like 5 core friends that I had friendships with, like people that I went through a lot with, considered friends. Is there such thing as a halfway friend? Because, they were good friends in some regards and terrible friends in other regards. Honestly, the only real music friends that I have from that era are Memory and Tina. And Memory Memory never did any weird, disloyal, slimy, sleazy stuff to me. And so, you know, obviously our friendship is strong and we're still working, and he's off getting his own plaques, and he has that hit song with Summer Walker and Little Durk and the Ira Star record. He's doing well. And he's a producer, you know what I mean? Like, none of them were recording artists that I was investing all my time in. The recording artists I was investing all my time in just decided either that they were going to give up, that they were going to do some real nasty stuff and burn a bunch of bridges. Or in one particular case with an artist that I was in a group with Tina G, who sings a lot of my hooks, they were stealing behind our backs, not paying me any money for producing and composing the majority of their music, and also fucking the manager. So ultimately that ended on a sour note, and I was left with nothing other than the experience I had gained working with this artist. I'm not saying that's not valuable, but I would have liked to have made some kind of money the way they had made money throughout the relationship. Anyway, my point is, if you're investing all of your hope and future into one artist who you swear up and down is your friend, I pray this doesn't happen to you. But if they decide they don't want to do music anymore, or if they stab you in the back, or if something bad happens to them, they succumb to a drug addiction, maybe they move, maybe they have to leave the state, who knows? All I'm saying is, as a producer, if you're dependent on one other person, then you're not truly taking your own destiny in your own hands. You're codependent on someone else. And I admit, I was codependent on these other artists. I thought they were the ones that were going to carry me. When I realized that I had to do this myself, and then the right people would come to me, that's when things changed and I actually became a career producer. But having these experiences, finding out, friends are stabbing you in the back, that stuff will make you want to quit. It'll make you want to give up because you're like, you can't even trust your friends. Realistically, though, it's a lesson. I had to go through it. I think most people in the music business go through this, where the people that they put their trust in, the people that they consider their brothers and sisters and family members and all this, end up actually being enemies and end up actually working against their best interests. So I think that hurts a lot of people. It kills a lot of careers because people just can't handle that level of disappointment, betrayal, and heartbreak. I persisted. I stopped working with I had no choice but to stop working with all these scumbags. And then next thing you know, I'm at the next level of my career. Things are going well. I have the number one album in America for a couple of weeks. I'm on it and life is good. I'm doing it. It feels like by myself. Obviously I have people around me that are helping me, but it feels like I'm no longer dependent on another artist to carry me. I can take my experience as a producer and move around and work wherever I want. I'm no longer putting all my eggs into one basket, and if that basket drops, my egg is cracked. The second thing that I'm going to tell you about is this made me want to quit too. Years after my first big break, I've talked about this, I used to be a lot more reckless as a person, and so I would say a lot of names. I'm still not afraid of saying names, but it's just not necessary at this point. This happened so long ago, so I'm going to keep names out of it. But I'm going to show receipts because I don't like just talking out of my ass like a lot of people who come on YouTube. I get this record, it's a single, and everyone's excited about it. It drops, everyone's excited about it. People are listening to it. Like, it's the first time not the first time, but it's the first time I had a single that people are talking about, not an album cut that people are talking about. I'm walking down the street, I swear to God, I'm walking down the street in New Orleans, and someone drives by in a car playing this song. This was an exciting time. Like, I'm thousands of miles away from where I live, and they're playing this record. And when it drops, I'm not credited, someone else is credited. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. The person that placed the record actually wrote the hook. I'm like, why are you credited, as a producer? And he's like, nah, it's cool. It's just a mistake. And I'm like, yeah, mistakes happen. Everything's fine until something just isn't right. And I talked to my manager. He's the one name I'll say, I think. Ivan Rivera. He reaches out to, I guess I'll say another name. He reaches out to Epic Records because that's who released the single. They say, yeah, let's look at the paperwork. Okay, it looks like DJ Payne 1 is no part of the equation. 100% of this record and the composer share and the production credit is going to this other guy. I'm like, that's interesting. So the other guy finds out about it, sends me this strongly worded email. I said I would have receipts, and I do, but I blocked everything out. This is way back in 2012. And also, it was my birthday week, so what a fucked up thing to be experiencing at that time. This one hurt, I'm not gonna lie. This dude is basically trying to shame me because I went over his head, and he said, they told you there aren't any splits yet, but I guess my word wasn't enough. Again, I told you, people will weaponize friendship. They will claim, why would you need to talk to the label? Why would you need to see paperwork? I gave you my word. We're cool. We're friends. And in fact, Epic did not tell me that there aren't any splits yet. They told me that, in fact, there were splits and I was just not a part of them. As far as our agreement, we were doing everything 50-50. I never had that conversation. This person claimed I was on the phone with him and agreed to giving him 50% of everything, which I didn't do at all. This is why I made that video saying don't sell beats over the phone. Get everything in writing, then you can talk on the phone and have fun and converse and all that. But you can't trust these people, man, for real. So here's my manager confirming everything from Epic and saying that in fact Epic had cut me out, period. And what actually happened was, you see, like, I got $4,500 for the record, but the advance was actually $10,000. Some people might be shocked that that's the amount I was supposed to be given for the record. So the other guy intercepted far more than 50%. So even right now, he's lying about the 50% situation that we didn't agree on in the beginning. So it's just lies on top of lies on top of lies. But I showed my contracts in a very recent video, and both of those were for $10,000 advances. So this. If you're in the industry as a beat maker, you would know that this is not anything out of the ordinary. But the fact of the matter is, this hurt a lot because the record label shelved the record. I don't know if it was because of this situation, because I wasn't causing problems. I just said, things are so messed up. For a beat that I created, I was only going to be given 20. I could have fought for more, but instead of fighting, I was just like, cool, just give me 25% and let's move forward with it, because the record was building momentum. Something happened where it stopped. I've seen the rapper, I've seen the manager since then. I've talked to them. There's no bad blood. So I don't think it was because of me demanding, what I was owed. But I was at the top of the world at that point, and the rug just got pulled from underneath me. I'm depressed about it. I'm like, is the music business this bad? I had Boy Wonder shouting me out because he heard that beat. That felt good. Ryan Leslie shouted me out. I was actually supposed to do, this is the first time I'm saying this, I was supposed to do a whole album with Ryan Leslie because he heard that track. We had amazing songs together, and then I think I started getting blackballed. Honestly, I say the blackball narrative is bullshit, and it is to an extent, but there are people who can tarnish your reputation, at least in a limited capacity. So I think that's what happened. The good news is, and let me just wrap this whole thing up. Again, this happened in 2012. All the artists that I had falling outs with because they stabbed me in the back and did me dirty and gave up and blah, blah, blah. They fell to the wayside. They're doing what they're doing. I continued to grow because I was focused on my career. And now, within the last 2 years, I've had a couple hit singles. So I lost a hit single in 2012, but I got it back later in the 2020s. I mean, think about it. If I had quit in 2012, it's 2023 right now as I'm making this video. That's 11 years later. And I'm so glad I didn't give up. I'm so glad I didn't give up. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back. There's nothing wrong with hitting the pause button, but don't hit it for too long. There is something wrong with quitting because it's so final. I'm not saying don't quit. I mean, if this isn't fun anymore, if you don't love it anymore, quit. Seek your own peace. But if you are conflicted about quitting and you're only quitting because the circumstances right now are putting pressure on you, give it some thought. And hopefully this puts things into perspective. I don't want to see people just give up on their dreams if it's just because of temporary inconvenience. And ultimately, I'm looking back on all these bad situations and I'm seeing them as very valuable learning experiences. And anything that you're going through right now in 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10 years from now become learning experiences that you reflect on and say, okay, I had to go through that to get to where I am right now. Peace.